My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here. Okay, so today is October 3rd, 2022. It is 5:43 a.m. This is video number 3. New subscribers, welcome. But this video is gonna be for my backup channel. And my last video, I did mention that I was gonna do this video, so let's get to it. It's on Twitter. This is a video that I came across a while back, and I wanted to treat it separately, and someone on Instagram had tagged me on it as well, but I had already aware of it, but I did thank her for letting me aware of it. So everyone needs to listen to this and reassess themselves. Royal family equal mafia. Okay, double down news. Former British soldier on why the monarchy is not your friend. Alright, so it's 9 minutes, so I don't know how long it's gonna take me. I'm gonna stop in between to insert my opinion. Alright, I cannot just let it play out like that.
So now we've buried the Queen, why stop there? Why not bury the entire monarchy? That may seem harsh, but hear me out. The monarchy is not just a symbol of inequality, it actively upholds it. King Charles's mum dies. Yeah.
This is very important. It upholds inequality. If you've been following what happened to Harry and Meghan, you'll understand what he mean by that. It upholds inequality, not equal.
It's 400 million and he pays 0 inheritance tax. If your mum dies, you pay 40%. And I bet you don't have 20 billion worth of assets to back you up. The Crown Estate is worth between 15 and 30 billion pounds, while 4 million children live in poverty. And we've got more food banks than branches of McDonald's. And where did they get their vast...
And the thing with the food banks and all of that, I've discussed these kind of things on my other channel, Pure YTE. Alright?
Wealth, violence, imperialism, colonialism. The British monarchy is built on violence. And I say this as a former British soldier. It's time to take the opportunity to throw the monarchy on the scrap heap of history where it...
I have a couple videos that YouTube is holding on my back end, and those videos explain exactly. All right, these videos have been uploaded since, let's see, when is that one? Oh, since the 9th. I did this since September 9th. All right, since September 9th, around the time when the Queen passed, I believe. All right, YouTube is still looking at it to approve it, but I'm waiting for a time to release them, but I'm just waiting for now. All right, look at all those videos they're holding. They don't want me to make money off of them. All right, but this one, these 3 videos really reflect on what he just said about imperialism, colonialism, violence, and all of that. All right, I'm moving it back.
Built on violence, and I say this as a former British soldier. It's time to take the opportunity to throw the monarchy on the scrap heap of history where it belongs. I'm Joe Glenton, journalist, author, former soldier, and traitor to the crown. Probably before I was...
Wow, traitor to the crown. And this is something, when I pray for foot soldiers, these are the thing. Foot soldiers, because the monarchy, those people on top, they need people like him to go do their dirty work for them. Otherwise, they won't be able to maintain and uphold the position that they have, the wealth. All right, so
was ever really political. I was, from the mind of a child, kind of a Republican. It never really made sense. But that said, I am, in a much more literal sense than many people, an actual traitor to the crown. Of course, I signed an oath to the Queen many years ago when I joined the military. But even then, I didn't really buy into it. I was never a queen and country kind of person. This is a group of people who basically came to power, or their ancestors came to power, because they were more violent, more vicious, more sneaky than another group of people who were also vying for power, and they have managed to hold on to power. People talk about how it's a
That's exactly that. Yeah, they were more vicious, more violent, and they're trying to maintain that same mentality.
Constitutional monarchy, it's not a tyranny, but it is a tyranny, but it's a quiet tyranny. And it's a tyranny we can kind of tolerate because it's wrapped in pageantry and this kind of shroud of democracy, the Privy Council and things like that. And I think when you start to scratch the surface, you can see all the times that the monarchy, in my lifetime, has intervened in politics. And whether it's the Queen didn't want black household servants, they wanted to be exempt from particular laws relating to climate change, or Prince Charles's, now King Charles's, famous spider letters in his scratchy handwriting, trying to influence government on particular issues. Charles was the most senior royal to act as a kind of front man for the arms trade. He's not the only one. Prince Andrew was a front man for the arms trade.
This is one of the things why he wanted his title back. He wanted to continue doing this. I'm telling you, these people are evil. I'm glad somebody's saying it, because when I was reading the anonymous tweet, it was a long thread. I was like, what? How am I gonna back these up? Alright, so I did the video but never uploaded.
A man who has links to Epstein, the late paedophile, who was bailed out with 12 million of our money. Endless stories about them storing their money in tax havens. You look at the massive amounts of wealth and land they own. You look at their continued and increasingly unwanted lording over the former colonies. These are massively powerful people. And I think just on that basis, you should be critical of the monarchy. And again, if they have no power, if they're just symbolic, then why was the whole country in effect locked down, and certainly locked to a particular kind of media coverage? Why was it force-fed? So many journalists, who I'm sure on any other topic probably are capable of impartiality, just turned into stenographers for the monarchy. There is a line to be drawn between grieving, even a national grieving process over a public figure, and just being a bootlicking sycophant. And that is how a lot of senior journalists in the mainstream media came across. There was no space whatsoever for anything except the top-down kind of narrative. First of all, republicanism is a legitimate viewpoint, and it is legitimate to express it at any time. And I don't care if it's the Queen's funeral or the King's coronation. It is a long and grand tradition in this country, because so much of what we are concerned with, the commons, landlords, unaccountable power, runs straight through the monarchy. And yet
some of these issues, I bring it slightly to the extent of my knowledge, and I think Dr. Shola have brought those topics up as well, and I've shared some of those videos with you.
There's this kind of baked-in deference to power which runs all the way through British politics, the whole spectrum, which stops us asking those questions when they need to be asked.
Why are you so subservient to someone you don't even know?
Sod off. Go away. Don't call me again. I can't stand you. You disgust me.
The right wing are and it's been evident in the last week or so, the kings of cancel culture. Not a word can be uttered which is critical of the Queen or the monarchy. And it's not to say there are problems on the liberal left and the further left, but certainly the right love the idea of unaccountable authority. It's part of their ideology. Every commentator going was virtue signalling for the last 10 days or so. What we've just seen is like a nuclear state-mandated mass virtue signal. What was the cue if not a mass virtue signal? David Beckham, God bless him, had queued up, but Holly and Phil had pushed in, and all of the people commenting on it completely ignored in their conversation about equality and privilege that they were all queuing up to see the coffin of a 96-year-old billionaire who had inherited by accident of birth gigantic power.
By accident of birth, that special sperm. I think I did record this on another video, but maybe I haven't got to it yet. I thought I didn't, but now that I'm watching it again, I think I did. So I might put it on both channels, each one on different channels.
In this country. And I think we can do better than that. People are down in the queue saying they're happy to eat the human respect to people, wanting to be part of history. It is a historic moment, but maybe not in the way that most people whose view is kind of obscured by a weird sycophantic love of the monarchy would understand. The British state is being remade before our eyes. I think that's the historical aspect. What we're seeing is the kind of mythologies of British identity being reformed and remolded. There's been an attempt to de-link the royals from colonialism, the Queen particularly. How much land is owned around the world by the monarchy? You have to.
That remind me of my video where I have the UK flag. Yep, when I did that and I wanted to see where the Commonwealth located at, and that's exactly that. All right, I was educating myself and I share my whatever I was learning.
Explain why they own billions of acres of land across the world. The monarchy is an institution of violence. It's built around violence, our colonial history and our imperial history. The Queen oversaw the last phase of the British Empire and was centrally involved in that. And even more recently, the royal prerogative has been exercised to enforce parts of the colonial settlement. In particular, the Chagos Islanders, Diego Garcia, the Privy Council ruled that they couldn't return to their homeland. And then you can just look at the kind of accoutrements the monarch has on their person when they're in their costume of state. Diamonds from this former colony, gold from this former colony, opals from another former colony, sapphires from somewhere else. They are absolutely centrally involved in colonialism and were from the very beginning. And they continue to be. When they go and tour around hedonistically, getting carried around on racks by the islanders in some former part of the empire, it's absolutely central to their identity. As I've said, it embodies inequality.
And this is the thing that really pisses them off. When you look at when Harry and Meghan went to Germany, the red carpet that they were being received, some people in the comment section were really upset about that. They weren't supposed to receive that kind of welcome and things like that. And it only reserved to the monarchy or people in that social class up there. They were pissed. So yeah, this guy is absolutely right.
Just a symbol of inequality. It is the ultimate expression. People who God decided could be in charge. That's literally the terms we're speaking in here. And we have to argue with that. One argument that's levelled against Republicans is that if we had a president, we'd have a Trump. We'd have this kind of corporate sponsored demagogue. As if Liz Truss isn't that already. As if Boris Johnson isn't that already. As if the monarchy isn't that already, as if Prince Charles isn't a front man for arms firms, as if the Queen, even though she maybe didn't publicly do that stuff, didn't tacitly let it happen, tacitly endorse it. And
this is where I said, when the Queen's father died, I don't know why I've repeated this so many times, in my humble opinion, when the Queen's father died, those people who are in power, who wanted to continue that same trend, took over. And then they probably told the Queen, this is how things is, things this and that, when the Queen could have easily put a stop to it. She didn't know any better. And then when the Queen had Charles, they really trained Charles for that. So now Charles is that guy. Okay, and then William is going to be the next one, because they train those two. And you even have Charles training William to do certain things. Be friendly with the media and all of that. Meanwhile, the brother, Harry, was not about that. So, yeah, I truly believe the Queen father, when he passed, the institution took over and made the Queen believe this is the way certain things go, when it didn't have to. Because she's the Queen, she could say, no, things don't go that way in my household. And if she wants certain things to happen, she could easily talk to the same way she gets certain things happen and get people vote on certain things that she's interested in. All right, so yeah.
Question about the kind of society you want to have. A lot of monarchists come to you and go, are you a Republican, so you'd want a president? That would be rubbish. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to replace what we have now with some other kind of crap capitalist society, guys. I want a completely different kind of society, which is much more communal and is based on sharing things. I mean, if I had just inherited billions and billions of pounds, massive amounts of land, gigantic amounts of privilege, at the point when the country I claim to serve is about to plunge into an energy crisis, is in the midst of an escalating cost of living crisis, I would probably put my hand in my pocket and cough up and pay for some things.
So this part, the treatment that the UK citizens are going through, like the heating bill, lack of food and all of that, I truly believe they really want the people in the UK to feel how the monarchy is treating them, that the monarchy don't care about them. and at the same time they're profiting off of it in the process. Okay, so when the people get really upset about it, look at it, the amount of things that keep on happening, they still don't see that they need to change. So now it's hitting them straight directly on the home and their home physically and all of that. So for them to be angry and say we do not want the monarchy, meanwhile when you look at with their hunger and poverty and all of that that's going on, what is the monarchy doing? Throwing huge party, huge thing, the jubilee, huge ceremonial for the how do you call this, the queen's death and all that. They don't care about you. If they did really care, they would say let's slim down this a little bit so people could have money to put food on the table. All right, so that's the thing that I get from that.
Gigantic amounts of privilege at the point when the country I claim to serve is about to plunge into an energy crisis, is in the midst of an escalating cost of living crisis. I would probably put my hand in my pocket and cough up and pay for some things. And the fact that they have not, and I suspect will not, probably tells you a lot. And you should think about that, because these people aren't like you. They believe that they are appointed by God or their genes
That's
to
right.
rule over you. And
That's right. That I spoke about this in that video where I have the UK flag in it. Yep. You have God and then the firm and everybody else below them. Nobody shall pass them. Okay? They should be the only one on top. I've talked about this in that video.
I think this is exactly the time amid all those colliding crises to start thinking about that. All the questions which concern people who are interested in justice and equality, they all at some point run smack bang through the middle of the British monarchy, and we have to take it into account. We can't just circumvent it or shy away from it, or because one of them's died take our foot off the gas, because that is precisely the time to critique rather than just allowing the kind of a session to roll through. People are literally starving. Pensioners will die this winter because they can't heat their homes. And I think it should really bring that into relief. But of course, there is a problem. The British disease is deference to power. And it hasn't always been like that. We have got rid of a king once in this country, and they called it the first 2 years of freedom. And it's something that we should not try and recreate. We're not doing cosplay. But it's something we should consider. What could the world look like? What could Britain look like without this mafia family at its head? As we've seen in the last few days,
that's very touchable.
Independent media, which is critical and free thinking, is more important than ever. So if you want a media that isn't sycophantic and doesn't spend days and days doing coverage of royal coffins, support Double Down News on Patreon.
That's double. Oh my goodness, that's his information if you guys care. I think I shared this in another video on my other channel. I just realized that. But since I have it, I just might as well share it, and I'll put this one on my other channel. Okay, I've been calling the royal family the mafia for years. This man is telling the whole truth. How on earth we have William and Kate getting paid massive amount of money from the taxpayers while they have the audacity to talk about community. If black folks said this, they will be told us to get over it. Thank you, white guy. Rather a united kingdom, try a united people. Support DDN. Yeah. Alright, so that's it. This is the thing where it started. Alright, you can now visit the Queen's grave for £26.50 or £28.5 on Saturdays. Alright, so that's it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. And this is my other channel, PureYTE. You could go there and subscribe. That's it. Thank you.
Savanaka. It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life.
You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.